So, good afternoon, friends. I hope that I will be able to tell you something about this important class of material which is used for the energy devices. As the topic of my talk is futuristic electrolytes for flexible energy devices. So, all of us know that when we talk about the energy devices and which can be commercialized, especially if we are doing some research and we are interested in real research, means that it goes for the commercialization, because research has only two orientation. One is material preparation for commercialization, and the other one is material preparation for material study, for knowing the science behind that material. Otherwise, making some materials without any target which cannot be commercialized, I don't think that it is very useful for the society and for a nation, poor nation like us, where the funds are very difficult. So we should target the commercialization of the material, or we should try to make the materials which can be commercialized. So if we think about the commercial energy devices which can be commercialized, so they have many components. Actually, when we teach in the classroom, in the UGPG, or even 9th, 10th class, or any class, we say that the energy devices have only electrode and electrolyte. But actually, the energy devices has many components which has to be understood simultaneously, and these are the, besides the electrode electrolyte, there we have to find out that how to get the leak proof packaging, how to take the outer connections, how to make the insulation from outer atmosphere, so that the atmosphere is not going to affect their properties, etc. So so basically, but as this talk is related with material preparation, particular material preparation, so we are. I'm sorry that it is. I'm sorry. Probably presentation is stopped. Actually, it is raining very heavily here, so it will may create problems like this. I think it will go on creating problem like this. I'm sorry for that. So we have two main components. One is electrode, and that is the electrode is used to achieve the voltage in any energy devices, or you can say that electrode is the electrode is the material which decides the potential of any device. And in battery, and in case of the capacitor, these electrodes decide your uh, capacity of the supercapacitor. And electrolytes materials have actually the main, if you want to say in one words, then one sentence, then it is to provide the ion conduction. But it is not limited to that. It has other roles to play. Because it helps in responsible for giving you the energy and power density, because its electrochemical window decides all these things, and is indirectly controlling the achievable voltage and all these things. So electrolytes are of great concern. So my talk is related with the electrolytes. I am working in this field, so I will be talking only about the electrolyte, and especially I will be uh, more focusing on the different kinds of polymer electrolyte. So initially I will just go through some basic concepts and everything of that how it developed, and then I will go slowly. I will go to and focus more upon uh, the polymer electrolytes, which are how the commercial level has been achieved, and what are the future possibilities, what are the shortcomings of the present electrolyte systems, and how it has been planning that how we can go to the future polymer, means future electrolytes, means that how to increase the conductivity, because it still has limitations. So how to do that, and that is my talk will be focused more upon in the last portion, which I will discuss in detail, is will be the PISC system, which are actually the future electrolyte material for any device. Okay, so uh, let us start from the 1800, when the Volta was the first person who invented it, and who showed the world that okay, we can get the energy, electrochemical energy, by having the electrodes and electrolytes, by separating two electrodes with an electrolyte. At that time he used the electrolyte which he used was the some paper and clothes doped with in some salt water electrolytes, and this has shown that the importance of such kind of device. And so it has been since after then these energy devices has been studied at different level, at sorry, lots of electrode materials have been tried to increase the achievable voltage, and lots of efforts are being done on electrolyte also, so increase the current and other parameters as we have discussed before. Okay, so uh, let us go to next is that, so we have to understand that what is the role of electrolyte. Before going in detail of the other things, we have to understand that what actually electrolytes have to play in the what is the role of the electrolytes in any energy devices. So first and important role of the electrolyte device is that it has to facilitate the ion transport. It's a very common and obvious uh, work of the electrolyte material. And the second is the it has to hinder the electronic charge carriers at the same time. You cannot have an electrolyte which has electronic charge carriers also, that it has a very high ionic conduction, but simultaneously it has some portion of the electronic conduction also, because it will lead to the self diffusion, self discharge of the battery. So electronic conduction should be zero. You cannot afford to have the electronic conduction. So, and to maintain the device resistance low, of course the fast ion conduction it has to give, so that the device resistance is very low. Again, the self discharge is almost very low, and it has to give the wide electrochemical window, because ultimately it is going to indirectly going to decide that what can be the working potential. You can have x working potential from the electrode, but if your electrolyte is dissociating in between that electrode, then you cannot have that device. So if you have to have an electrolyte whose electrochemical stability window is bigger than this x value which you are getting from the combination of particular electrode, uh, to have a fast charging discharging. So its mobility should also be very fast. Only the number of charge carriers is not enough, and its mobility has to be uh, also very high. And till date, nobody is satisfied with the available electrolyte, because all the conditions are not simultaneously achieved, and sometimes you compromise on some parameters, sometimes you compromise on the other parameters. So basically people are still trying how to improve these parameters. So let us have an idea that what actually we want to say, that when we call that we want to have certain parameters in terms of measurable parameters I am giving you, and some other properties I am telling you. So these parameters are, of course, you have to have a very high conductivity, and then the ionic transference number should be 1. That means no other electronic, no other type of conduction, means other type means electronic conduction is totally absent. That is a very important thing, that the electronic conduction is absent in the material. Uh, Again, we have said we have to measure the electrochemical window and it should be large. Activation energy should be low, so that it all the charges are available at room temperature even for the participation in the transport of these materials, na? And the flexibility of flexibility to accommodate the volume changes during the charging discharging. What do we want to say when we say that it has to accommodate the volume change during the uh, charging discharging? What happens that it is the electrode electrolyte interface. Suppose these are the two electrode and in between there is an electrolyte. So when the charges flow, the ions come during the charging, the ions come and get accommodated at one surface, and during the discharging they travel back. So when the charge accommodation is at one electrode, there is, of course, there is going to be a pressure on the volume. The volume will increase slightly. If the material is not capable of holding or managing this volume change, then what will happen? You will find that after few cycle of charging discharging, a crack between the electrode and electrolyte will appear, which will distort the properties of the material. So, and of course then you have to have corrosion free long shelf life, because corrosion of course disturbs your materials life of the battery or the energy devices if it is corroding with the other things. And as I said that we have to target for the commercialization. If we are saying about the any material, then we are talking about the commercialization. And for commercial application, what do you need? You should be able to uh, we should be able to make the device in different shape and size. If you want to have a device for your watch, it should be very small. If you want to a device for your laptop, it has to be bigger, or like this. You have variety. You need variety of shape and size. So the material should be ready to be molded in different shape and size. Extremely sorry. So, and of course, we many times we keep the mobile like this, we throw it like this, or we put our watch anywhere. We sometimes we do not, we always, because these devices are a part and parcel of our daily life. We not always keep them in a very properly. That means they are forced to face the mechanical or physical abuse, you can say. Though they have to the material should be robust enough to various abuses such as electrical, mechanical, and thermal, no? And others also. So you have to take care of this कि वो आपका मटेरियल जो है वो उन सारी चीज़ों को एक्सेप्ट कर पा रहा हो, इन सारी रिक्वायरमेंट सारे अब्यूजेस को एक्सेप्ट कर पा रहा हो, तो दैट इज ओनली देन योर मटेरियल कैन गो अप टू द commercial level. So next is that now let us consider that now we said that okay, electrolytes are the material which supports the ion transport. So from where these ions are coming? Ions, what is the origin of these ions? Because in any material you cannot get the charged particles as it is. So it is very important to understand that how you are going to get these ions. So that we to get the ions from the salts, of course the salts are having cations and anions. So but we know that we cannot use the salt as it is, because ions and cations are not mobile in those materials. So ionic salt can never directly give you a charge carriers, and of course they have a very strong coulombic interaction, and they have that's why they are ionic salts. So they cannot be used like this. So we have to have different matrix have to be used to dissociate them and to uh, make them mobile in those matrices. So you need to have different kinds of matrices. So of course the most common, most easily, most cost effective matrix is your water. Water is most easily available matrix in which salts can be dissolved easily, and they can move also because it is a material which has lots of space in between. There are, you have already gone through the theories of hydration, and uh, uh, your charge carriers get associated by, get a cloud formed across them, and etc. So which supports their dissociation, and this supports the ion transport also. So this is the reason why these materials are still very famous material, and are being used in the devices where they can be easily used, like your inverter battery. There you can use it. Now you need not to move it, you need not to do it, you are moving it with, you have to take it away, you have to just keep it at one place, you just do it. Your car battery, it also have the liquid portion. So as and where it is possible, still the aqueous electrolyte systems are used, because there is no comparison of these electrolytes uh, as far as the ion conduction is concerned. And there are many other systems in liquid systems. There are glass system, composites, polymer. There are many systems which are able to uh, d- keep the salt in it, means they accept the salt and they keep them in the proper format. So you can have these as a liquid, other liquid system, organic liquids, and different kind of liquids. Glasses are a particular type of material, composite materials, and polymer electrolyte materials. So you have a different kinds of matrices which are used to dissolve the salt and get the ion conduction. Uh,
And
there
the
are
sort of
different
idea.
kinds of electrolyte systems, uh, uh, means without doping the salt. Sometimes some polymers are also generated whose counter ion itself is mobile and backbone is fixed. They are very limited number of that kind of. So I am my talk is limited to the salt based electrolytes. So what I am in this salt based electrolytes, what uh, I'm sorry, in these salt based electrolytes, what we can get is that there are non aqueous electrolytes which consist electrolyte, salts, and organic solvent, or they have a mixture of solvents in the system. Aqueous electrolytes, we have already seen that they have some, there are aqueous electrolytes which are very famous. Different solid electrolytes are also there. Variety of solid electrolytes are there, in which it comes mainly composite electrolytes, and it is the mm, uh, composite and glass electrolytes are very famous one. Dr. Neha, if you can ask the participants to mute them.
Yes, ma'am, it
Okay,
is.
thank you. So, and the other forms of materials are ionic liquids, which consist of organic salt as well as some fraction of alkali salt. Because still the desired electrolyte is not achieved, so different combinations are being tried by the scientists. Many type of different combinations are being tried. In a polymer electrolyte, the gel polymer electrolyte and the solid polymer electrolyte, where polymer and some salt is used, and this salt, MX salt, can have uh, these MX salt can have a variety of cations are being tried to understand that which one can give you the best charge charge properties, or best conducting and best electrochemical stability window, and many other parameters which I have discussed before. So uh, so if we are saying that we are looking, that means the basic concept is that we have to have sorry, we have to have some solvent to mix the salt, so that the salt can be dissociated, and at the same time ions can be mobile. So there are different solvents which are which are being tried and which are being used. So we should understand what is the minimum criteria when we are trying to do some new research, we are trying to have some new work, that what should be our approach, how we can try to find out that which kind of solvent we can use. So that is, of course, because it has to dissolve the salts, so it has to have a very high dielectric constant. That is the first and most important thing, because it has to support the ion, it has to dissolve the ion. And the next thing is that it has to support the ion transport. That means the viscosity of the system should be very small. So next point is these solvents, whether they are solid, whether they are polymer, whether they are liquid, all of them have to have these properties. Now, we are considering all of them as a solvent. Okay? It should remain in the cell component. It should remain inert in the cell component. Means, I'm extremely sorry, I am having little bit cold today. Sorry. It should remain inert to all cell components. Means there are different cell components. Suppose that if you are using particular liquid electrolyte and it goes and react with the electrode material, this corrodes with the electrode material, then it will be of no use. You cannot use that combination. So this has to be inert to all cell components. The electrolyte has to be inert to all cell components, to all those cell components in whose contact it is coming. Okay, and especially the charge surface, like cathode and anode. Of course, if the cathode and anode goes, its cycle, its properties cannot be maintained. So you have to have inert material. It should remain liquid, or in case of solid, it should remain amorphous. So in the wide temperature range, because only then it can be used as a solvent. So it should have, I'm extremely sorry. Extremely sorry. So it should have low melting point, and its boiling point should be high, so that it remains in the liquid format for the longer range of temperature. And its flash point should also be high for the safety concerns and for being non-toxic. There are some other parameters which we have to consider when we select the solvent for our studies, that what kind of studies we can do, and we are selecting them. And that is the most important thing, is that what kind of salt we are using. Like if you are using a lithium, if you are working on lithium, because lithium is the material which is used in everywhere in the present days commercial devices, then you cannot have a solvent which is having proton intake, because for lithium, the electrodes which are being used with these two are a very high reducing and oxidizing nature. No, so you cannot use them here. So because if you use them here, then they will disturb the cathode and anode. So you cannot use. So you have, for that you have to use some alternate solvent like this carbonate, and these are the some of the alternate solvents which are being used to dissolve the salt to get the electrolytes. Another parameters which is very important for such electrolytes is liquid range of electrolyte. So this is because we know that there is a bubble temperature, the temperature at which one of the component of liquid solution start vaporizing. One of the component I am using, because many times what happens, there are we cannot get the desired property using the one, then we mix many solvents to optimize the property. So if any of those components has a vaporizing temperature within the limit, so it will disturb the system. Now, this defines the upper limit of the temperature, and liquidus temperature, the temperature below which one of the component of the electrolyte solution starts to crystallize. So you can work between these two temperatures. You cannot go beyond above that, above the bubble temperature and below the liquidus temperature. And these limits together are called this your liquid range of electrolytes. This is called the liquid range of electrolyte solution. Okay. So these two you have to consider. So as I have said that water was very obvious, it was very easy to use, then what was that thing which was forced us to find out some solid electrolytes? So it's okay that liquid electrolytes, of course, were very, very good in dissolving the material, providing enough space for the ion transport, and they were providing low resistance. Undoubtedly, there is no question on these. But at the same time, what has happened? The disadvantages was, the most important disadvantage was that it has a very small electrochemical stability window. एक्वस का 1 से 1.5 वोल्ट के बीच में होता है, एंड फॉर ऑर्गेनिक मटेरियल्स दिस ESW goes between 2 or maximum 2.5 volt. So the especially aqueous, this is the greatest problem, and for the other people are trying, we are going to do, but small electrochemical window of the liquid electrolytes are really a great problem. Temperature range is restricted always with the liquid components. If it is the liquid component, then the temperature range is limited. If you are having a liquid component, you have to worry about the leakage. Of course, the liquid component have a greater probability of corrosion, so it will corrode. And it all puts the design restriction also, that how to pack it, how to mold it into different shape and size. So this always remains a problem with the liquid electrolytes. And so all these things have forced, so to find out that we should try for some extremely sorry, today I got very bad cold. So as if you remember your childhood, we all remember that in our childhood, many of you may be very young, that we used to have, every family used to have a torch in the house, and if that torch is not used for a very long time, because of the leakage of the battery, if you have not taken care, the whole system was corroded like this. So and think of it, if you are using such kind of battery in your laptop or in your mobile, then can you afford 50,000 rupees or lakh rupees of laptop going waste just because of this kind of corrosion? No, we cannot accept such kind of leakage, such kind of corrosion cannot be accepted. So the solid electrolytes were required and are required still. Of course, they are the present day's time material. So wide temperature range is also possible in case of the solid electrolytes. So we can, using the solid electrolytes, we can use it in a different way, whether we are going for the space or we are going underwater in sea or anywhere. So of course, and of course they have a longer shelf life. So all these things have made that we should have solid materials. So we can have a look that what we have achieved by getting the solid electrolytes, which was not achievable with the liquid electrolytes. The first and most important thing which we can correlate is your artificial pacemaker. It is giving life to so many people, and it is possible just because of the solid electrolyte. Liquid electrolyte you can't use in the artificial pacemaker. And besides this, you know that this is the electrochromic window. You must have heard about it many times. I am not going to tell you. You can just put it on the window, glass window, and just by putting some applying some voltage, the color of the window changes. So if in the summer you can have dark color, in the winter you can have a bright color, so that the heat comes inside, or in summer it does not come. So it's and many other, of course, many other application also. Batteries which we are using in our camera, mobile, etc. So there are so many use, not to just go on counting them. You know that there are many. We cannot talk about, not to be just listing them. So you can think of it that how fast this the technology is going, because we are now having the solid electrolytes, and that's why the electronic technology is going moving with such a great pace. We are getting daily with new and new electronic gadget is coming in the market, because the energy device which can support its working is available, and that is just because of these solid polymer electrolytes. So if we go, if we talk about the present era, that was a long back. That is, you can say that it is now a part and parcel of our life, and we need not to worry. We take it as a for granted. Okay, this is our part. So what the scientists are thinking for future. So future is, they are thinking about e-textile, health monitoring systems, healthcare systems are coming, and all these things are display devices, of course, are coming, and many other, not again, not to go in detail. But what is happening with these flexible devices, like till now, if we are using laptop, that is not flexible, it is having a fixed battery. If the present our present mobile is also not flexible, it is having some rigid piece of battery. So what is required for the future is the flexible energy devices at the same time, because the flexible electronic technology is increasing at a great pace. You daily you can see that some or other new device, new display device, or mobile which can be folded, and everything is coming in the market. To have that those devices a reality in our daily life, it is important to have a cost effective flexible energy devices. So the new era is of flexible energy devices. This is the main important point to be considered, flexible energy devices. So this is the main thing which we have to concentrate. The new researchers should try to understand that if you are able to get something flexible, whether it is electrode or electrolyte, that will have more importance and real importance for a social life, or for a real, because research is what? Research is a way to help the community, to increase the comfort zone of the society. This is for the research, to have something new, something valuable, something important which can help the society. So if you do like this, go for the flexible energy devices, of course it is going to help the energy devices. So, of course, solid electrolytes are being used, and they are commercially available in many devices. These are the part and parcel of our life. So, because still, as I have continuously repeating this, that the optimum electrolyte has yet not been achieved. So, to achieve those optimum material which has the optimum property, that the final electrolyte, researchers are trying different combination, because you have to have a solid solvent which can salt, which can give the salt the same kind of comfort zone which it gets in the liquid when it is mixed with the liquid materials. Okay, so different materials are being tried, since when it has been recognized that okay, you can get a solid electrolyte, so many are being tried. Uh, Classifications are of different kind. Sometimes it is classified in the literature. You can find the classification based on what kind of charge carrier are there: silver ion conductor, copper ion conductor, sodium ion conductor, lithium ion conductor, Sometimes they are defined in depending upon the temperature range. Sometimes they are defined on where they are applicable. But these definitions, classification which I have used is depending upon their morphology. So crystalline or polycrystalline simple, composite electrolytes, glass electrolyte, and polymer electrolyte. Of course, I am going to concentrate on polymer electrolyte. Today we are going to talk only about the polymer electrolyte, and especially because these polymer electrolytes are the electrolytes which are commercially used at this time, which are the part and parcel of our life at present. So if we try to define that polymer electrolyte is a compromised alternate of liquid electrolyte. Why I am using this word that it is a compromised compromised alternate of the liquid electrolytes. This is because because in polymer electrolyte what happens, then the ion transport takes place through the polymer segmental motion. Because the polymer segment, how it will move, it needs some assistance. It is a solid material, it cannot roam like this, so it has to move through some mechanism has to be. So what is said that generally what is still the people are trying to understand, but the general concept is that all the polymer, this is your, suppose it is a backbone and this is your flexible hanging moieties, and suppose my watch is a kind of iron, suppose it is so if it is moving like this, then the iron is also moving, so it will go to the next, from here it will jump to the next position, then it will jump. So with the hanging moiety, iron moves and it is jumped to the next and next level of, so it goes on moving like this. So so segmental motion is where this motion is called the segmental motion. This is backbone, this is segment, and its motion is known as segmental motion. So segmental motion is very important because it is polymer is your ion is conducted through this, but so it put a temperature restriction on the working temperature, because segmental motion is possible only after the Tg. Before Tg, even in the amorphous region, all these segmental motion are freezed. So for segmental motion, it is important to have the temperature, and ion transport is much slower in comparison to liquid. Of course, it is a common thing to understand. The higher device resistance, again it's a common, because it's a low, then it's a common, but at the same time it is having a very good some very good parameters. Why the EWS designing is, you can cut into different shape and size, corrosion free, safety, and etc. So if you consider the state of art, we can have a quick click on this, that if you consider this tree is depicting very nicely that what is the progress in the flexible devices. This is for the flexible devices. You can see that electrodes, so many electrodes have been developed, but as far as electrolytes, we are still depending upon aqueous, organic, ionic liquid. Some redox active materials are being used, but basically we depend upon the gel electrolyte. So this is the problem. We have to improve the solid polymer electrolytes. So polymer electrolytes, as I have told, they have been studied in a great number. So these can be further subdivided into the different category. My interest is basically in dividing into two categories on the basis of the salt concentration, and because you can use the amount of the solvent and salt concentration to get the optimum property. You can go on changing their amount, and you will see that both the mechanical and electrochemical properties changes. So you can divide it into two classes. One is known as salt in polymer electrolytes, or in short we call it SIPE, okay, and the other one is polymer in salt electrolytes or PISC system. Okay, so salt in polymer electrolytes, what are these materials? So because these are the materials which can be prepared very easily, and the change, the charge dissociation and ion movements both depend upon the distance. Suppose it is a backbone and this is the hanging moieties, or this is moving, so this ion is going from here to here like this. Again this will move like this. Yeah, from here it will take it and then it will move, so ion will also move and it goes. But if they are very close, if we start putting there too many hanging moieties, if we select material which is having too many hanging moieties very near, then it affects the salt dissociation. Your salt dissociation will be poor. And if you are having uh, the distance is very large, then the charge transfer through movement will not be possible. So this becomes a very important parameters in this class of material. And to achieve the desired electrochemical and mechanical, these materials are being modified again and again so that we can get a good kind of material which are desired. So you can subdivide, again divide it into the different materials, different classes, which are gel electrolytes, composite electrolytes. Actually, there is a solvent-free polymer electrolytes. It is, if you see in the literature, you will get such kind of classification. But the fact is that all these are a sub-classification of this. Now, you develop this, you found there are some problem in this material, then you add something in that material, that becomes a new class of material. Okay, so sometimes this polymer is also known as a dry polymer electrolyte. And then when we add something, then they become a new class of polymer electrolytes. Okay, so there are different composition, different type of classifications. So gel electrolytes, composite electrolytes, plasticized electrolytes, ionic liquid containing electrolytes. These are the four mainly basic components which we consider as polymer electrolytes. So if we concentrate on the polymer host, that what is required by a polymer host. So of course the same as it was before. It should accommodate the salt. It should facilitate the salt dissociation. It should support the ion transport through its segmental motion, and of course it has to give the physical matrix to the system. So to get all these properties in your polymer, what kind of polymer you have to choose for your material? If you are trying to make some new material, you have to have the material which has amorphous at the room temperature. Then only you can get the good conductivity. It has sufficient number of segmental chains. You have to remember that you cannot have too many segments. You cannot have very less segments. You have to have an optimum. And that's because if this optimum value, PEO is the most studied polymer in this class of material. Still people are working on PEO to modify the PEO to get a better, because it has the optimum value between the hanging oxygen of its backbone. So, it should have low TM and TG, and of course the high dielectric constant, as we have studied for the general solvent. All those properties should be fulfilled here also. So when we are selecting a salt, till now we are talking about the solvent. Now when we are selecting a salt, what we have to consider? Of course, we have to have a low lattice energy salt so that it can be easily dissociated, and we can separate cation and ion only when it is possible, when it has a low lattice energy, low ion size of the mobile ion, especially because if it is smaller in the size, it can move in a small space, so it will much be very fast. We want large counter ion, because in these electrolytes the problem is that we don't want the counter ion to move. We want the target ion to have the maximum conductivity. So if the counter ion is very too big, so its movement will be very small. So we have to have a large counter ion. Whatever is moving, whether it is cation conductor or anion conductor, the counter ion has to be big. Material salt should be abundant in nature. The lithium is facing this problem now, because lithium is very limited, is available in a very limited amount in the nature. So that's why the people have started looking for the alternate, what to do, how to replace the lithium, because in a very near future, means not 100 years, nearly 50 to 100 years, but it is going to means very limited star. You will miss it very soon.
Then it is
So
in the stationary phase.
to abundance in nature is very important. Of course, for commercialization, low cost is important, non-hazardous. So all these things we have to take care when we are selecting the salt. Selecting the salt, we have to take care of all these parameters. So now we have selected the salt, we have selected the polymer. How to synthesize them? So generally we have two basic ways to synthesize the polymer salt composites. Uh, Out of these two, one is the solution cast technique. Very simple technique. What we do, we take the polymer, we use the same solvent. Otherwise, there will be solvent mismatch. We take the same solvent in two beakers. In one, we dissolve the polymer. In the other, we dissolve the salt. When we get the homogeneous solution of both separately, then we mix them. And then after mixing them, we stir the material for a sufficient time. That definition of sufficient time varies from the polymer and salt. How much they are compatible with each other. If they are compatible enough, even 1 hour mixing is enough. If it is not, then you may need 24 hours mixing also. So it all depends upon the compatibility of this polymer and salt. Generally, which we are using in the lab, 4 to 5 hours of, after 4 to 5 hours of stirring, we consider it that it is now completely mixed, and then we pour it in the petri dishes and you leave it there in atmosphere in normal cases. But you may need some specific atmosphere if you are using specific salt, especially when you are working with the lithium. You cannot use in the atmosphere. It may catch fire, or it may create problem. So then you may need to have a specific glove box or atmospheric controlled atmosphere, where you can put it in the petri dishes. You just leave it for 2-3 days. Generally in 2-3 days you get the film. If you do not in 2-3 days, if you are using some solvent which is difficult to evaporate, like DMSO, in many times the DMSO is being used, then you need more time. Maybe you need to little bit heat them or keep in the vacuum. But in normal solvent means generally we use methanol or acetone, and these solvents get evaporated in a very these solvents get evaporated in a 2 or 3 days maximum. You can get the film, solvent free film, within 2 to 3 days. So these are depending upon your solvent, you have to leave it for the desired time period, so that you can get the freestanding films. The other way out of getting this is your hot press method. So hot press method, few people have said that it can be used, but very limited literature is available. In this method, what the people have done, they have taken the solid polymer, they have taken the solid salt, they mixed it in the desired appropriate ratio, they mixed it, grinded it properly, and then they kept it for heating. And during the heat, they press it. Means it is not like that they heated it and then cooled it down. No. While heating, they press it to get the, sometime if you press it in very hard, you will get a very thin pellet. You can call it a film. but of course that is brittle, and the conductivity of those material are also not found to be very good as far as my knowledge is concerned. I have not gone through any of the material, any of the hot press material which is having high conductivity and good mechanical properties, and that's why it is not popular. Basically, solvent free, this solution cast technique, first one is used maximum time by the maximum researchers. So now let us talk about the dry or solvent free, the first category of the material. All this process of synthesis are more or less remain same for all the category: composite polymer electrolyte, for gel polymer electrolyte, for ionic liquid polymer electrolyte. For all those, they almost remain same. The only difference is that you put some more additive, or depending upon the system, some temperature parameters come into the picture, but you do it in that way. Okay. So solid polymeric the interaction of polymer ions with the polar groups of the polymer are mainly resulting from the electrostatic force and the formation of coordination bonds. So what happens that these coordination bonds becomes very important while the resulting the properties of these polymer electrolytes. Now, because how close they are and how strongly they are connected, that will decide the movement of your material, movement of your charge carrier. So nature of functional group attached with the polymer electrolyte becomes very important because they are moving with these coordination bonds. Okay. So composition and the distance between the functional group, which I have already told, that सेगमेंटल जैसे होंगे वो फंक्शनल ग्रुप अगर बहुत पास हो जाएंगे तो भी even then it will not work. If they are separated apart, even then it will not come. Molecular weight becomes very important because if the hanging moiety which has to move, if it has a higher molecular weight, then of course its movement will be very slow. So molecular weight becomes very important, and moreover, if you consider the same polymer, suppose PO comes in a variety of molecular weight, and its nature changes from liquid to solid and very hard solids. So that molecular weight you have to choose according to your requirement and need. Degree of branching, of course, it is important. I have already told. Nature of charge of metal, cation and counter ions. So all these becomes very much important in these material. And this is one picture to let you have an idea that what I wanted to say. Suppose this is a coordination bond. So this will move. This will vibrate like this. From here to here it will vibrate. So this zinc ion which is connected to it will also vibrate from here. So it will jump from this to this one, then this to this one. Like this, it goes to the new position and you will get the ion transport in these systems. This is another way of depicting that how the charge carriers takes place in the polymer electrolytes. It is very important to understand. So this is your intra-chain hopping. In the same, initially it was connected somewhere here. So in this, it has left this portion. And now it is connected. So on the same polymer chain, it is increasing. It is moving from here to there. Okay. So it can be interchange also. It was initially here. So now it is going, because if the segmental motion of two different chains are coming, it can jump like this also. It is not necessary that it has to jump in a same backbone segmental chains. So it can move like this also. And in this way it moves further. And the other way to explain this movement is to say that they move in ion cluster. That means it is not single ion movement, it is a cluster of ion. From one place it goes, so next cation will come and get here, and like this they move. So same ion cluster movement in intrachain and interchain. Both type of ion cluster movement is through ion cluster is also possible and directly also possible. This is a simple diagram showing the what is the effect of the salt concentration. So in SIPE region, which I am talking about, in SIPE region, it has been observed that such kind of materials have two peaks. And this is generally the ultimate peak, and maximum number of charge carriers and maximum conductivity is achieved here. This is the maximum value which maximum conductivity is achieved. This is a very bad old paper of mine from where I have taken. At that time this was supposed to be the good conductivity, but now it is of course not. Of course we talk about that in this range, so this is not at all a good in the. I have taken this figure because this figure was nicely given in that paper of mine. So okay, what I was trying to tell is that it passes through two peaks, and the reason for this, that as the salt concentration increases, ion association starts to take place. Okay, it's the ion association which starts to take place. But if we increase the ion concentration even to the higher limit, what happens? The ion clusters are being formed. A new, sometimes some theory says that they are redissociation is there. That means even at higher salt concentration, matrix is so changed that it's getting redissociated, and there are one class of thought thought group is that one kind of peoples are there who think about it that what I was going to tell, redissociation or triplet ion formation. This is triplet ion formation. They say that they make the triplet ions, and hence then the conductivity, because effectively the number of charge carrier increases, so the conductivity also increases. So this is the limit. Ultimately you can say that this is the limit, you cannot go beyond this. This is useless. So for a particular polymer and particular salt combination, this limit comes at different salt concentration. It is not at all fixed, it comes at a different salt concentration. So you get different kinds of material depending upon what kind of material, what kind of polymer and salt you are using. If you consider a temperature dependence of normal polymer and electrolyte material, what you will get is that you can identify two reasons. One, at low salt concentration, I'm sorry, this is the temperature dependence of polymer salt electrolytes. At low temperature, you get very low conductivity, but as you move to high temperature, the conductivity shows a jump here. And this jump occurs at Tm of polymer. This is the melting point of polymer. Because at melting point, what is happening? Crystalline region is going to amorphous region. And the same amorphous region. The same is shown here. You can see that here no crystal. These are the crystal, small crystal. Polymer is mixed of crystal and amorphous region. So these are small crystals initially present in the system, and at high temperature these crystals melt, and the whole complete system is amorphous, and it has a very good value of conductivity and everything. So this is this is all about what I wanted to tell you about the polymer electrolytes, about the dry polymer electrolytes, which you can say. And then the next thing, the next material which comes is the gel polymer electrolyte. As we have seen SIPE, and as I was showing you the data here, you can see that this is something. This I have to correct here. This is not for NH4I system. I was putting, first of all, I was putting that here. This is for some different system. But hardly matters. The all are have the similar kind of nature. So what I was about to tell, that see the conductivity is not very high at room, especially room temperature conductivity, even at higher salt concentration, it is not very high. So this is the basic problem with the dry polymer electrolytes, and so it has been thought that if how can we increase this conductivity. So the first and most important simple way of increasing the conductivity was adding low molecular weight for plasticizer, low molecular weight polymer or plasticizer. ठीक है? And the other one is we can have a physical or chemical mixing. In a both way we can mix, either we can have a chemical mixing or we can have a physical mixing. So these basically what are gel? Gel are a basic solid polymer unit in which we put some electrolyte. Either we put that in some liquid electrolyte. We can put that liquid electrolyte just by physical mixing, or they may have a chemical reaction with each other. The additional polymer which you are giving, which is of liquid nature, and the one which is of solid nature. So such kind of mixing have electrolytes trapped in the polymer matrix. So basically what happens that these trapped liquid electrolytes are the conducting part, and hence the conductivity is very high. So high conductivity, high energy density, better geometrical variation and safety. But of course, when you put some liquid in some solid, its mechanical property will certainly deteriorate. So you have a poor mechanical property. This is the drawback of this material. Otherwise, they are very good class of material. They are being used at every space, and in fact, these are the material which are giving you the high conductivity and other things. This I have taken from some paper, other paper, not mine, and which depicts that how these liquid electrolytes help in ion conduction. Suppose your charge carrier, it's a very nice pictorial presentation. There is some mobile ion here, and it has to move through the amorphous region. Crystalline region is very well structured, so it cannot move. And here the initial amorphous regions of the polymer are far away from each other, so ion cannot move. If you have a gel electrolyte, which is basically some solvent type of behavior, then you increase that kind of liquid content, so amorphous content is increased, so the ion get a channel to move. So this is how, in a very rough manner, you can understand that how the gel electrolytes are prepared and how the conduction takes place in these material. The next thing is that you can have the matrix. This can be homopolymer matrix, copolymer, polymer blend, modified polymer. You can have any kind of combination of different polymers to get it. No? And these are the few low molecular. Please remember, low molecular PO is saying. Now, high molecular PO is very solid. Low molecular PO, PC, EC, these are the generally used material for preparing the gel type of electrolyte. And these are the basic, because you have to always remember, to prepare the gel electrolyte, the main matrix polymer should be ready to accept these additional polymer in its matrix. There should be a compatibility between the two matrices. So all polymer matrices cannot be gelled. There are some particular type of polymer matrix which can be gelled. So these are the few which accepts these mentioned low molecular weight compounds as a liquid component, and they result in a very high conducting materials. So these gel electrolytes can be prepared in two ways. The gel electrolytes can be prepared in many ways, not in two ways. There are two categories. This can be solvent based as we use. There are electrosperm, and there are separate membranes. You make separate membranes and then you dip क्या कहते हैं, you dip those membranes in some some liquid solutions, so that liquid solution get trapped in the solid matrix. There are different methods. People are trying different methods. The ultimate thing is that they result in a two kind of gel electrolytes. One is known as the physical gel and the other one is known as the chemical gel. It is important to understand because they affect the properties. So in the physical gel, of course, as the name is suggesting, there is no chemical bonding between the main polymer matrix and the gel component of the polymer. So they are just physically, so they can be shown like this. लाइक फिक्स्ड जोन्स होते हैं, जंक्शन जोन्स होते हैं, यहाँ ये यहीं से क्रॉस करेंगे एक दूसरे को, इस तरह के फिक्स जोन होते हैं. एंड देयर आर सम कि यहाँ पे ये कर लिया फ्रिंजेस, मतलब देयर आर सम लोकल कंडीशन एंड देयर आर सम दैट these are the two. यहाँ इसका here it is having some ions and they have an ionic interaction between the two. So these different kind of in these different ways the gels are, this ionic interaction is not the ionic reaction, it is only an interaction, they are physically bound. Yeah? So physically cross-linked gels, physically cross-linked gels polymer electrolytes tends to swell and the structure changes, and there is a leakage problem also in these kind of materials. So this is the limitation of this type of material. Gel by chemical cross-linking, as the name is suggesting, we need not to tell you much more about this. There are some chemical bonding. The matrix and the attached gel get some chemical reaction and get involved in some chemical reaction. So they have a chemical gel, and of course this gel will be more stable because they are now chemically attached. They have gone under a chemical reaction, so they will not get separated easily. But the problem of, so they are more stable. But the problem of these gel is that conductivity is what will happen when the temperature will be applied on such kind of gel. So you can understand that if it is a chemically gel, if these gels are attached at chemical point, chemically attached with each other, then with temperature they may change their shape, but the point of junctions are not changed. Whereas in the physical, the lower one is the physically entangled gels. So what you are getting, that as you have increased the temperature, every portion has taken its own path, so all are separated. So this is the limitation of these type of material. But still gel electrolytes are giving very good conductivity, and they are almost maximum number of properties, desired properties have been achieved from these materials. So these are the materials which are being used everywhere. So while dealing with the composite, okay, so sometimes, so composite word is not used with a fixed version of fixed class of material. Composite polymer electrolytes I am talking about. So I am using, which is generally being used in the literature also, I am following that trend. It is the material, it is that class of material where what we do, we have a polymer salt solution and then we put some
additive in this. These additives are generally some oxide materials of very high dielectric. Why high dielectric? Because we have to support the ion dissociation. So if my polymer is not having enough dielectric constant to support the salt dissociation, then we put some additive, these additives, these oxides in the material which have a very high dielectric constant. So they are found to increase the number of charge carriers in these materials, and of course their particle size is also very important. In polymer, what happens if you add something in polymer at when it is heated, and if you leave the polymer to uh, let it cool down, then what will happen? While cooling down, it makes the some of the portion makes try to get its crystalline structure back. But if you have put you have added some additives, so all those additives will work as an disturbing point for crystalline structure, and they will not allow them to have this, so amorphicity increases. So like this, it helps a lot in the improving the conductivity of the system. Generally used are these, and a new fashion is the ferroelectric. The new fashion is ferroelectric fillers, and they are found to give a better result and stable system in comparison to the oxide. So this is a new trend. Ferroelectric materials are being used. So if we try to understand in a summarized way, it increases the amorphous nature, provides the new path for the charge carrier. These additives, sometimes the surface of these additives also work to provide the path for the ion transport. So they increase the interaction behaves as a sometimes न्यूक्लिएशन स्मॉल न्यूक्लिएशन कर देते हैं तो ज़्यादा आपका एमॉर्फस रीजन रह जाता है. So fillers can play important role in providing interfacial ion path, and these are good for the electrode electrolyte interface also. The most important thing is that T plus ion strongly depends upon this. It has been found that T plus मतलब ionic transference number for particular type of ion. If we are writing here plus, that means we are talking about the cation, because generally we talk about the cation devices, lithium battery, sodium battery. We don't talk about the iodine battery. Na? So that's why the sorry. So, cation number is found to increase. In some cases, it has been reported that it jumped from 0.54 to 0.82. It is a transference number, fractional number. So, it is like this, points में ही आता है. So, transparency is also affected. So, if you are using them in the window devices, electrochemical window devices, then there it is an important factor. Crystallinity is decreased with the addition of this. So all these have the very important parameters, very important class of electrolyte. It helps a lot to increase the conductivity and to get a better amorphous Division based electrolyte system. Plasticized system, there is always, you may get confused, and this confusion is always existing there, so don't get confused. But sometimes they are separated and sometimes they are called in a one way. Plasticized and gelled. Sometimes there are some basic concept. Plasticized electrolytes also contains EC, PC and PEG electrolyte, which I have given there also. And the basic difference, the polymer gel electrolyte and plasticized electrolyte, is that in gel electrolytes we say that we are putting some liquid electrolyte in solid matrix. Okay, so basically what we say that the ion transport is because of this liquid electrolyte. Solid matrix is just to give it a structure. In the gel electrolyte, in the plasticized electrolyte, main polymer electrolyte is there, the ion conduction is there, through that only, this only assists it. So that is a very fine difference between them. But in literature, if you go in the literature, you may find that they are, many times they are used for each other. So plasticizer, what it does, it weakens the intermolecular, intramolecular forces between the polymer chains. That's what I am saying. Here, it modifies the polymer chain. It is not assisting the ion directly. It is basically modifying the polymer chain. That is the difference between the gel and this, resulting in lessening of the rigidity. Polymer rigidity will be less, so structure formed during the drying, और इसलिए इसके that's why its mechanical and electrochemical property of the prepared films are changed. Okay. Plasticizers the main effect of the plasticizer is decrease in the glass transition temperature. That means increase in the amorphous region. So that means crystalline region decreases, amorphous portion increases, resulting in an increased. One thing you have to remember, amorphous region not only supports the fast transport, but the amorphous region is found to assist the salt dissolution also. If a material is having more amorphous region, you will find that the salt is dissociated, the dissociation of salt is greater in those materials. Even if you are talking about the same PO, below its TM and above its TM, you will find that the dissociation of salt and above its TM is larger in comparison to below TM. So basically, amorphous region is not only to assist the charge transport, but to create the charges also or dissociate the salt. So resulting in the increased this, surface roughness also changes and surface becomes smooth. But of course, SP, the increase in the conductivity of the plasticizer is associated with the mechanical strength weakness. It weakens the mechanical strength. Whenever you put some extra thing, of course you are putting some kind of liquid component extra or low molecular weight things extra, it is going to decrease that. Okay. And reactivity of polar solvent with metal electrode and solvent also put together. These all these PG or all these plasticizer react with the metal electrode, may react with the metal electrode and may create problem. So these are the things which you have to keep in mind when you are working with the plasticizers. But still, plasticizers are also a very good class of additives which result in a high value of conductivity and high other good properties also. But these are the extreme limiting case which we should understand. So all these materials were having some or other problem, number of charge carrier. SP conductivity जो है that is -4. Siemens it is almost going to -4, maximum it goes up to -3. So this is still a target how to increase it. So it's very natural the people are trying to get some other solvents, and ionic liquid based electrolytes came as a new solvent. Why this ionic liquid people are using? Because it is having low viscosity, large polarity, melting points are good, non-volatile, thermal stability, non-flammability, extremely high conductivity, high ion conductivity of its own. So initially it has been found that we can use iron, we can take salt and we can mix them and we can get the good conducting material. But this was not found, because when mixed it, the viscosity increased and so the conductivity was decreased. So that concept was not very helpful to use directly ionic liquid as a solvent. So people have started doing adding it some portion. So you can also consider as ionic liquid based gels you can consider. So you can keep this material in the gel also. There is a very blur line between the classification. So you can use it like this also. So there are some drops. So presently they are used as an addition to the main polymer salt electrolytes to manipulate its conductivity, etc. But they have some other problems. They are ionically rich. They are having their own ionic conductivity. So what happens? Its own ion starts moving. We want the target ion to move. If we are making the lithium battery, we want the lithium from the salt should move so that we can get a lithium battery performance. But its own its own the ion starts moving. ठीक है इसका is poor, device charging recharging is poor, non-active layer is formed on the electrode which is harmful. These are the some drawback and failure of the system. So this I have just given you a very broad overlook of all kind of materials so that whatever uh, gives you excitement, okay, this I can modify, this that I can modify, you can work in that field and you can try for that. So there are problems with the SIPE, large contribution from anion and substance, both liquid and solid electrolyte. This is a problem. Due to agglomeration, it is again creates problem, and TON is not very high. As I have told that it is very small, generally 0.54. I have given you an example. And there are polyelectrolytes which give TON equal to 1 and they suffer from poor conductivity and strong interaction of, I am making it fast because I have just seen the watch because it is already 1:26. So I am little bit fast now. If you are not able to understand, you can ask me. Ion motion is quite slow because of the polymer segmental motion assisted. Okay. And the other shortcomings are listed here. You can see in the literature. But I am coming to the one of the most important topic in the next 30 minutes. It's very important. So with all these things, the segmental motion and everything, what has been hypothesized in 19, this is important to let you know that in 1970, polymer electrolytes were recognized. And in 1990, it has been hypothesized that, okay, if we can increase the salt content up to the limit uh, where it can make a continuous ion cluster make a continuous path throughout the matrix, then the ion movement will be through this matrix. It will not require any polymer segmental motion. So this will be a fast conduction. So that was hypothesized at that time that if we can do it. So, but the problem is that is still it has not been sorry. So if you want to see in terms of this figure, you can understand that it is the same polymer salt complex. This is pure polymer. This is pure polymer, and as we are increasing the salt concentration going from here to here, what we are seeing that here it is in this region it is SIPE, which we have just studied. After a certain region, the ion cluster, the dissociated ion makes a cluster throughout the matrix, and now the ion transport is throughout the matrix. Once this ion transport is throughout the matrix, the ion transport will be very fast. It was hypothesized, but all the efforts which has been made till date was not at all resulted in a very good material, because what has happened, the moment you try to increase the salt, either they reassociate and the salt comes out of the matrix, or the matrix is so poor and brittle that you cannot use it. The conductivity sometimes goes down. So some or other problems are there. So what we actually require for the synthesis of PISC material is that which can keep a large amount of the salt in dissociated form. That was the biggest problem. At the same time, it can maintain the mechanical proper quality of the material also. So if we want to use, and this is the main problem, and we are not able to get the polymer till date, because all the efforts either has resulted in a uh, poor mechanical property or poor electrochemical property or poor mechanical property. ठीक है, the reason was of course that you don't have a suitable polymer host. So what we have tried, we have started working in this material, and we tried to use starch, crosslinker and salt to get the PISC. So first thing, that if we are using, if I am saying that I am using them, why I am using them? Because starch are environment friendly, easy to handle and economical. First and important thing, if you are targeting the commercial application. So we have considered these things, which showed us that, okay, this is a very good material. We were very excited to understand uh, that it's so good, we can think about. Then we try to understand its technical property. Of course, literature is full, due to food industry, literature is full of salt and starch reaction. They said that ready to accept the salt, they have a flexible structure, they are having the hanging moiety. So all the important parameters are there. So we thought that if we have got the best material to show. And because of the hanging moiety, we thought that it will support the ion transport in this way, and so we have considered this material. But the next thing is that if it is having so much common properties, then why it has not been used till date? So we got the answer within 2-3 days after starting our work with the starch, that material gets fungus on its surface, and of course the property of materials was deteriorated in all respects, whether it was electrochemical properties or it is your uh, mechanical properties. So in all case, it was deteriorated. But the other properties were so exciting that we were not able to keep us away from this material. So we tried to find out the solutions, that how can we make them in a better way. So we found that there are many other ways. Initially we were using water in this material, so we tried other solvent, we tried crosslinker, others can try. We found that the preservatives can also be tried, cooking temperature can also be changed, and OH group can also be modified if you want to get rid of these problems. So what we did, the path which we have followed, which we followed the cross-linking path. We didn't go for the modification, etc. We followed the cross-linking path because it was very easy, and the reaction with the cross-linker was available in the literature. So we started with them. We studied different starches, these many, and different sodium and magnesium salts. And our main aim was, because we were the first to work in this field with these materials in this format, so we started with these aims, because only then we can give you we can give the scientific community a concrete understanding that what we are working upon, that what is the best starch, what is the amount of salt, and what type of salt to be used, what is the best solvent, what is the maximum amount of the cross-linker, and what effect of the plasticizer on this material. Okay, we have considered the salt effect initially. We have considered that what kind of salts we should use there. So here what is the thing is that when you are working with the starch, you have to consider this Hofmeister series. This is very important. And it has been found that left side materials are salting out materials, and so They are not good, in fact, we can say. And right side materials or salting in materials are called salting in materials, so they are quite good materials. And like this, in the cations also, these are not very good, these are much better. This series says, okay. So we also found a similar kind of a study in nature till date, and we are doing trying to understand it in a better manner. As you can see that, yeah, this is NH4I based material and this is NaI based material. The face itself tell you, the picture itself says, gives you that this is a soft type of matrix, and this is a little bit brittle type of matrix. The figure itself is able to tell you. And if you see it here, you that this is at the starting point. That means it is not supposed to be good, and your sodium is comes at the third place, so a better material can be obtained using the sodium. This series has told us, okay. So we have not worked with the lithium because there are many reasons. Lithium, it's okay, lithium is giving the best property, but handling the lithium is a quite a big problem, and moreover very costly material. Until and unless you are some polymer matrix is established that it is okay, it is the good one, it is useless to go for the lithium. So we started with the sodium magnesium, now we have came to the lithium, so that we can uh, develop a better material. So initially we started these two materials, sodium and magnesium. And why? Because they have a comparable property with the lithium. Of course they are not the best, of course they have some have lower parameters than lithium, but still they have a comparable. Lithium electrode potential minus 3.02, it is 2.71, this is 2.38. So all the properties, required properties are comparable, so we started working with the lithium and magnesium. Why we have selected the cross linking? Because in literature we have seen that the cross linking not only saves from the fungus growth, but it increases the film forming uh, nature of the your starch. Its tensile strength is increased. It becomes water resistance, hence the stability is increased. And film's appearance and resistance to wrinkle also increases. So means all the good properties are there. So we started with the cross linkers to be used. The success story of my group is that, because once we call that, we say that we are talking about the commercial matter. The most important things are cost effectiveness, etc. We got success in developing a simple protocol which does not require any sophisticated instrument or any kind of it does not involve any complicated chemical process also. Nothing is required. Simple, take a starch solution, take a salt solution, mix them, mix some cross linker in that, in the same. This is your starch solution. Let me make it little bit. This is your starch solution, starch in methanol, salt in methanol, and there is a cross linker. You just add some, stir it some at some degree. This temperature depends upon the origin of your salt, origin of your starch. Uh, for wheat starch, you have to heat up to 70 degree. For other corn and potato, etc., you can get the film at 40 degrees. So that you have to optimize. You have to play with it, and you get a you just pour it in the petri dish, and you get a flexible freestanding films. So at a very nice, no fungal growth, nothing, a very nice material. And so it was a very important class. Initially when we started, because there was no data was available in the literature regarding these materials, so we started from the very basic concept, so that we can understand the material. We made simple potato starch. PS means potato starch. This PS means potato starch. So we just mix the potato starch in methanol, try to see that what is its mechanical properties, what is its chemical properties. Then we added salt, then we added some, uh, this is your plasticizer. Then we added cross-linker, glutaraldehyde is cross-linker GA. Then we added salt and plasticizer, then we have added salt and glutaraldehyde, then we have added glutaraldehyde, salt, and all the combinations we have tried to find out. We found that all are these are pellets, so of no use. We are not interested in pellets. We are talking about the flexible devices. This was the in film form, but not good. So no problem. It was not having any salt also. So ultimately, these were the two good materials which were soft film. So we thought, okay, these two can be used, but we didn't continue with the plasticizer. Why we have not continued with the plasticizer? The reason was that the plasticizer was not very well accepted by these metals. If you can see that there is some liquid type of material coming out at the near the surface. If you increase the plasticizer amount a little bit, it starts literally coming. Initially, it was chip, you can say like this sticky type of thing, and after increasing a small amount, we found that it is coming out of it. So we dropped the idea of working with the plasticizer in this case, and we continued without any kind of plasticizer, only starch, glutaraldehyde, and salt. And the success story of material, you can understand that we have two patents. One has already been granted. We have just received in the July 2021, we received the grant. Although I have applied it in 2012, but we received the grant in just in the July this month. And the other one is still under examination. The first report has been received, that has a very nominal objections, that not properly drafted and etc. etc. We hope that we will get the same also. So this is the success story of the material, that it is so important that it has suddenly resulted in the material. So I have talked about the ionic transference many times. I am just trying to collect the some parameters to tell that what we have understood. Probably this slide should have been at that place. Anyhow, it is very long PPT, 120 page, so it is up down ho gaya. But okay, I am just telling you that how we measure the ionic transference number. If you want to know that, you measure or apply a voltage here. This is your material. You apply a voltage. You measure the current. I take the initial value of current, take the final value of current, and using this formula given here, using the formula, you measure find out the TOI. But it is an important factor. That's why I included this method, this measuring technique, because once you make an electrolyte, it is the first and most important thing to measure the transference number. Whether the conductivity is because of the ionic conduction or because of the electronic conduction. This is the most important factor to be understood, and that's why I have included this measurement in the PPT. So now if we have to use the cross-linker, then we have to understand that how the conductivity changes with the cross-linker, what amount of the cross-linker we should do. We tried to understand, we found that there is an optimum value. If we are using beyond them, then the conductivity, instead of increasing, it is decreasing. So we have, that's why in maximum of our paper, you will find that we are using 2 ml for 1 gram of starch. 2 ml of GA for 1 gram of starch. So this is your 2 ml. So why it was so? Why we are getting a low value of conductivity after a certain? You should understand. I have shown you a figure before that the sodium was attached here and it was moving with this moiety. But if you add this glutaraldehyde, it is being chemically being attached with these points. So the number of points available for the ion association are decreased. Although it is making the system compact, it is making the system more smooth, but beyond a certain limit, it is affecting the points where the ions can go and get attached. So after a certain, so we have to use a compromised value. So after a certain value, its value is decreasing. So that's why we drop the, we generally use only 2 ml of this. So application of starch bed, this is our second patent because time is very limited. So I am not telling anything about the microbial fuel cell. I will leave it here. Uh, I will come to some promise. I will just uh, come to some important things that I will give the PPT to Dr. Neha, and any one of you interested can get it from there. That once you prepare, once you synthesize the polymer in salt electrolyte system, then two things immediately you have to confirm, which we have studied till, we have said till date, that mechanical properties are poor, salt is not in dissociated form. So two things we have to confirm. That is, that salt has been accepted well and it is in dissociated state. These two things we have to confirm. So how we have confirmed this? We have taken the optical micrograph and XRD for confirming this. So you can see these optical micrographs. This is our good freestanding film, transparent also to some level. You can, these films are so flexible, you can twist it, you can stretch it, bend it, whatever you wish to do, you can do. This the same kind of quality we have received with the other materials also. This is another, this is wheat system, the previous one probably was the potato system. Like this we got the for everything. This is, those were for sodium, this is for magnesium, similar kind of study. And the most important thing is that it is now, when we did the XRD, we are so happy after seeing the XRD results. You can see that none of the NAI peaks are present even at 3:1%. None of the NAI peaks are present. That means all the NAI are dissociated. They are not having the original structure. They are dissociated. So this is the best thing which made us very happy, that okay, the salt is dissociated, film for mechanical quality of the film is very good. And so we continued with these materials. And the next thing which is important is to understand whether material is stable or not. So for that, with respect to ambient, so generally two things changes in the ambience: temperature and the humidity. So we try to understand these two parameters. With the temperature dependence up to 100 degree we have studied, no change, nothing is almost miss. Of course there will be something, but almost parallel lines are there. So very good materials in this respect also. This is humidity also. Please remember, this is not log scale, this is values. So going from 1.5 to 2.1 is not at all change, especially when we are moving the relative humidity from this to this. This is going from, maximum change is from 5 into 10 to the power minus 3 to 2 point, sorry. This is 21 into 10 to, very small change. This is considered as a very small change. Generally, polymer electrolyte conductivity changes exponentially. ये log scale में होता है, and even then you get a straight line. Relativity humidity इधर, log sigma इधर, and you get a straight line type of, more or less not straight, but you get a similar kind of nature. So from that point also, we were so happy with this material, very good material. And if you try to understand the electrochemical properties, conductivity, initially this is up to 3. So conductivity of -2 order, very good with the sodium. and we have got in this range with the magnesium. Okay, so conductivity is very good. You can, this is a, well, you can have, can look here that we are getting conductivity of -2 order for all the system. Variety of starch, these are different starch: wheat starch, potato starch, and rice starch. So all are very good. So you can work on this very, I am little bit fast, but you can understand that it is a very low ESR. These are all the standard things which you can measure. Wide electrochemical window, and this has gone up to the 2.6, 2.7. So in case of, this is for sodium, and in case of magnesium it is higher than 3 volt. This is the very good relaxation time. This is relaxation time, which is in the microsecond. Again, very good relaxation time, वेरी गुड. नॉर्मल का, नॉर्मल मटेरियल्स का मिलीसेकंड और सेकंड्स में होता है. सो दिस कंफर्म्स फास्ट चार्जिंग एंड डिस्चार्जिंग ऑफ योर डिवाइसेस. ओके, fast charging and discharging of your devices. So very good in this sense also. Yeah, this is tau, so you can understand. Just here, from here you can see that here it is quite large, because it may be in SIP, still in SIPE region, but once it is in PISC region, the value decreased a lot. As we are increasing the salt concentration, it is going more and more in the PISC region. The tau value is decreasing. That means it is going through the ion clusters. So fast ion transport is there. These are the cyclic voltammetry. A test for whether it is good for the supercapacitor or not. If you get a rectangular shape, this is almost rectangular. So this is said to be good. So our material is good for that purpose. So if this is the same CV for different. I am not telling all these just to confirm that our material is good. That these kind of material, starch-based electrolytes, are very good. This we have published in the Electrochemical Acta recently, where we have developed a supercapacitor using the traditional electrodes, which are not very supposed to be very good for the storing the charge carrier. Even then it has given the good values. So these all are the values given for that. I am skipping that. No, this at last I want to show 3 more slides and then I will stop. That if you compare the EWS values, EWS value, ionic liquid, this is your ionic liquid, hydrogels, liquid electrolyte, different types of electrolytes and other solid electrolytes. You can see this is, we are ranging in this range. Ionic liquid, and the most important drawback of the ionic liquid is that it is very costly. So using it for commercial application is a big problem. In that sense, our material is very cheap and it is comparable to the ionic liquid. ESR very low. ये इसकी जेल टाइप फिल्म, जेल टाइप aqueous, this our, sorry, so this is very good. And then relaxation time in a microsecond, others are in seconds. So from that point of view, from other point of view, you can say that the starch-based materials are very good. So what to conclude, you have got it. So I will just write that others, if others explore this material, I am sure that you can say that these materials are really good. So now I am just trying to stop here, because already I have taken too much time, and I hope that if you try to convey the what is presently commercially available polymer electrolytes, and then how to get new future electrolytes which you are supposed to bring. People are thinking. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Neelam ma'am, for sharing your expertise in futuristic electrolytes for flexible devices. Now, this platform is open for discussion. If any participant he or she would like to ask any questions, they can ask. Any questions from participants? So, if there are no questions from participants, we, uh, we will like to thank ma'am. Ma'am has discussed on various key.
I have one question.
Yeah, please.
Thank you, madam, for your extremely good presentation. I have just one question regarding this particular technology that you are talking about. Are there any scopes for shape memory alloys in this particular domain?
What?
Sir, madam, are there any scopes for shape memory alloys in this domain?
Uh, I'm not expert of the shape memory, so I will not be able to uh, comment on this because my main concern is with the energy devices only. So I'm sorry, I cannot comment on that part.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Any other questions from participants? Okay, if there are no questions, I would like to thank Professor Neelam Srivastava ma'am. Professor Neelam ma'am has started discussion with the very basics of different types of polymer electrolytes, shortcomings of those electrolytes, and way forward in order to develop a future electrolyte specifically related to PISC system. Ma'am has also discussed on the precautions that one has to take while developing a flexible device for healthcare systems, e-textiles and displays, and many more. We have also seen that if we want to develop this kind of material, how we can develop in the lab means from the very basic scale and move towards the applicability of this kind of devices. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time. We really enjoyed the lecture, and I hope our participants they might have really got into the idea of development of these flexible devices. Now, with your permission, ma'am, we will request if we can stop this session for today.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So for the next session, we can have a half an hour break and we can meet again at 2:30. At 2:30, we will be having our Art of Living session to be given by Dr. Namita. She is directly related to Art of Living Bangalore and she will be discussing on success without stress. So we will meet again at 2:30. Thank you.